Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on, Mike?
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight?
We have Mike Lepore who's running for Will County Board, District Number 4, correct?
That's correct. District 4, Will County Board, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th election coming up.
Let me throw this on screen here. So you're running for Will County Board?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So-
I'm just confirming.
Same ballot as I'm on. But
Yeah, actually, Paul, you're on there. I'm on there as well. It's been a good election season so far. Looking forward to Tuesday, man. It's been busy. It's been so busy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. That's why I've been not actively campaigning. Unfortunately, at this point in time, it's like we were saying earlier, it's like a second job.
Yeah, it's basically a full-time job from January till election day. You're always something to do. You know, there's really no downtime. But you know, if you like what you're doing and you think you got a good idea for the county, good path forward, you're pretty passionate about it, so you want to see it through.
Yeah, I figured I'd reach out to all the candidates that are on the ballot, you know, if they wanted to come on and talk for a little bit. You're the only one who responded, so I've said, why not? Why not? If you want to come on. You know, we'll have a little bit of a conversation. Get people, people get to know you a little bit and give us some of your ideas. You're obviously currently the trustee on the Homer Glen board, as it is,
Yep.
And yeah, we can learn a little. Some people out there can learn a little bit more information, so that they can see, they can decide who to vote for when the time comes. There's obviously 4 candidates running for 2 positions on the Republican side, and then this is just a primary. Whoever gets out of here, the 2 candidates to get out, then run for the general election in November, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And first and foremost, thanks for having me. I mean, I know you put an invite to all candidates, and I think this is a great opportunity to just get your message out to a bigger audience. Educating the voter base is primary.
Yep.
Not to be ironic, there's a primary, but it should be focused to make sure people know who they're voting for, what they believe in, and the more you can familiarize yourself with the voter base, I think the better it is for everybody. There's no reason not to try and get your name out there and get your voice out there, get your message out there. You can't expect people just to vote for you because they saw a sign. You got to do the door knocking. You got to do the personal stuff. You got to make sure people understand what you're about. And same thing when I ran for trustee was last April when I got elected there. It was a pretty contentious race even for trustee. Homer Glen's got some very contentious politics, and it's intense over there. It's like a mini Chicago is the way I describe it. They really like to get involved in their politics, and they're very passionate about it. And it's a great environment to be in if you like this kind of work.
Yeah, I agree, and I wish more people would actually go out there and vote, and cast their vote for whoever they support, because for the amount of people that live in this area, the turnout is not very high. And it would be good if it actually was. I know that it's a political town for sure. I mean,
this is also Will County, right? Not just.
Yeah, but this is actually running for Will County, not just Homer Glen,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, District 4 is there's 11 districts within Will County, and District 4 is a majority of it's Mokina and Homer Glen. There's a slice in New Lenox and Frankfort, and there's a little bit of Lamont, a little bit of Lockport,
Yep.
but primarily you're looking at Mokina, Homer. But it's a next door neighbor to Cook County. Will County has got its own thing going on, and I think it's most important right now to keep Will County, and keep Cook County politics out of Will County. We don't need to go to the direction they're going in. We got to right our ship and stay on a good path here.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. We just had a conversation about that previous to this. Cook County politics are even worse, and it's not only the politics; it's the policies that are pretty terrible. I mean, in my opinion, this is why I live in Will County, and this is why I also was on a ballot running for Will County Board as well. I had my own ideas, and I thought that maybe I could somehow make a difference. I probably, one way or another, you can.
Yes.
You obviously have to work with a team. You can't just, on your own, you're not going to be able to accomplish anything. Yep. Obviously, that's the most important thing. So you got to know how to work with people and work together with other, people that are on the board or either on the Will County board or the Homer board, wherever it may be, right? So
absolutely,
you're going to have back and forth. You're going to have some, differences in thoughts and differences in policies and whatnot. But at the end of the day, the main goal should be to keep Will County.
Yes. Keep
Will County the way it is, I guess maybe improve a little bit on Will County. I mean, Will County is generally not a bad county. It's a pretty good county. But, I feel like there's a lot more of people who think the way we may think than others. But it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it really doesn't. Yeah, but back to what you said, you can get far by yourself in a lot of areas. And certain industries, you can be solo all the time. But especially in politics, you got to learn to work with people. You got to be able to find common ground. You got to be able to identify the goals that are most important to you, and do your work and to move those goals forward and for the betterment of the community. Now, Will County's got its problems. I mean, Cook County, we joke about Cook County, but Will County's no angel. There's some issues there too.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully, with the right leadership and and a good plan, we can straighten this ship out a little bit.
Yeah. What's Martin? You were going to ask something, right? Martha's blank.
I was. Now it's all gone. I was gonna say you can't make anything perfect, right? But you can do the best you can to move it in the right direction, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing perfect in life. I mean, you can try and make things the most idealistic way you like, and everyone's got their beliefs, and you got to stick with what's important. Right? You got to stick to your core beliefs, and you got to make sure that when you present your message, that people understand what you're about. And if you bring a good message and you are able to articulate and able to get things done, you'll have a lot of success. I mean, I come from a private sector. I've been working for in my own businesses, my own companies. I have multiple different LLCs. There's no good enough. You're always working to make things better, and that's how government is too. You always want to work for it, make things a little bit better than what you found them. And that's if you keep on doing that and you keep on clawing away at it, eventually things will turn out the way you want them. Persistence pays.
Yeah, agreed.
You mentioned core beliefs. What would you consider yours?
Well, my big part of the reason I'm running is the property rights. I'm a big property rights guy. I've been a real estate guy my entire life. I believe in strong taxpayer rights. I believe that the property rights are fundamental to our Constitution, to our well-being. What really got me off the bench, I was looking at the Will County Board's decision regarding 143rd Street. Now, in Homer Glen, the Will County was looking to expand 143rd Street. They want to take that thing to Park. Well, they're going to take it to Parker Road right now. From Bell Road to Parker will be 4 lanes. Now, regardless of how you feel about the road expansion, I don't believe that was done properly. So the powers eminent domain were flexed by the Will County Board to take that property from taxpayers. Now, if the taxpayers wanted to sell it to the county, I have no problem with this. Everyone got lines of this county. Here we go. Here's our deeds. That's their decision. I don't believe Will County should be exercising the rights of eminent domain on that property when the Village of Homer Glen, the mayor, the trustees, and the residents were all against this idea. The powers of eminent domain should not be exercised when the state constitution gives broad powers to a village like Homer Glen as a home rule municipality. That should be Homer Glen's decision. But unfortunately, right now, it's not. And I hope that maybe there's some last-minute things we can do to kind of straighten this issue. But right now, Will County's they're taking the land, is what it looks like, and we're gonna have a 4-lane road going to Parker Road right now.
I don't agree with that expansion either. There's a reason why Homer Glen is the way it is. It's a green, nice, somewhat quiet neighborhood. I understand that businesses are, need to move in, obviously, to support a tax base as well. But I don't really see much room for businesses over there in that corner of the spot, right? That's mostly residential. I mean, it doesn't really make sense for them to do that. And regardless of the fact that they already started doing work over there, it's very unlikely that they're going to change their mind at this point.
Oh, 159th Street is really our business corridor. There's a lot of opportunities over there to still expand. We're working on different ideas, TIF districts, things like that, to make sure that we bring in the right businesses. But right now, that corridor is underutilized. We don't need to expand 143rd Street. Everyone's driven down 159th Street. Everyone knows it's pretty wide open.
Yep.
There's not really a lot of traffic on that route. Why do we have to push 143rd Street to 4 lanes? They want to take it to 355. That's the ultimate goal. We all know that. But, there's no reason. It's actually a nice little drive down 143rd. Between Parker to 355.
Absolutely.
It's very rural. It's a very nice feel to it. And just to build for the sake of building, you identify a need and before you build something. You just don't build because you have tax dollars to spend. Those tax dollars actually for 143rd Street could have been reallocated. If you don't spend them, you lose them. That whole rationale is that's nonsense. That money could have been used in other areas in Will County. There's Joliet that was looking for road money that they didn't get. Other municipalities could have stepped in line and got their roads, actual
funding for the roads. Yeah.
Things actually needed, not this road to nowhere right now. Well, not a road to nowhere, but a larger road that just doesn't.
It's not going to. I mean, it's going to be utilized because it's going to be utilized, but it's not going to be utilized to full potential. It will be utilized to full potential if they actually build out 355.
Yeah.
Because then you're gonna have a truck route.
Yeah, that's what we don't need another truck route either.
Yeah,
now you got trucks coming down 143rd, you got truckers coming down 159th. I know they can put up signs say truck route not allowed or pound limits on.
Yeah, they don't listen.
But
to those,
I mean, Will County's got their hands full.
The sheriff's department.
And if enforce that stuff is gonna be tough. So I think we're on a tough spot right now. But I think with better leadership at the county board, this would never have been an issue.
Yeah.
Well, the county board did vote on this project, and they
They did.
originally did vote to stop the project until somebody flipped their vote.
Yeah.
Well, which is it's is a situation that is not really heard of.
Yeah.
I know the who was it that was Tarantino, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, that stopped that vote. I don't know who it was exactly. I don't want to name names.
I get it.
You
Yeah.
just
I
named
mean,
one.
Yeah, we go deep on that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
but I don't really know exactly who it was. But I know there was already a decision made, and the next day somebody backed out of the vote or something like that.
Yeah, it was disappointing to hear. I think a lot of trustees, excuse me, a lot of the Will County board members that are voting on this issue don't live in Homer Glen. They're just looking at it as a road expansion project and taking 2 to 4 lanes, and they can look at a traffic survey that may favor their statistics versus looking at something that looks unfavorable to them. But I think when it came down to it, when the rubber meets the road on that situation, I think you got to take into account what the residents want, what the village mayor and trustees are pushing for. And you got to really just kind of go in that direction when it comes to something like this. I just don't. It was a bad fit, and that's what got me off. I was fine as a trustee, but I'm like, you know what? If this is what the county board's doing, because here's what's going to happen next. They're not going to stop at Parker. We all know this. They're going to keep on going. And if we get some strong leaders on this board, 143rd Street is going to be another 159th, and so that's what got me in this direction.
Yeah, like I said,
leaves a bad taste in your mouth too.
Absolutely, absolutely, it
when
does.
something like that happens.
yeah, and it's like I said, in my opinion, it's not a worthwhile project. But I mean, if they do actually try to develop it to 355, then it's just going to become another busy road through Homer.
Yep.
It's going to be loud. It's going to be
Yep.
It's not going to be. It's not necessarily the most safest road at the moment.
Yep.
I know there's a point on 143rd between Lamont Road and Parker Road where there's been a lot of accidents. There's something that can definitely be done about that. But in terms of expanding to 4 lanes and then just go ripping right to the middle of the neighborhood, I'm not with that.
It's too much, and and that brings me back to my other, the spending of reckless spending on this too. I mean, this money can be reallocated. That's another reason also that kind of ties into why I'm running. I'm a big fiscal conservative. I believe that money should be, that's designated for certain projects obviously should be accounted for to its fullest extent. However, what we gotta at some point stop going to our tax base and saying, listen, we need more from you.
Yes.
At some point, we got to say, listen, this is what we have. We have to operate with this and this. And actually, we got to look for savings within this budget.
100%.
We have to bring this back. I know the levy for Will County is a fraction of your tax bill compared to what the larger expenses may be. However, you got to start somewhere. And if we can save something here, and we can make a little change here and there, it will make a difference. And in a larger level, maybe we can set an example and show people how it's done here, and we can be something where we can actually get some real meaningful relief for property taxpayers in this county. Because everyone I talk to knocked on, oh boy, I don't know how many doors so far, but it's well over 1,000. So every weekend, every day after work, I get out, I go door to door, knocking on. How you doing? Mine's Mike Lepore. I'm running for Will County Board, District 4, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th primary. Introduce myself. What issues are you seeing with Will County? More often than not, a lot of people, property taxes. People don't want to leave. They don't want to move. They don't want to go to Texas or Tennessee or Florida. They would like to stay here. But you know what? When you do a dollar for dollar analysis and you look at things that are beyond their control, they're packing their suitcases and they're getting in that U-Haul and they're saying, listen, I'm going to take a chance out somewhere else. And that's sad because we're losing a lot of good people. And good people are needed in this state in order to keep us moving in the right direction. And the more we bleed out, the harder it's going to be to make this to right this ship.
Yeah, agreed. That's one of the biggest issues we're running into is that the people who actually want to make a change, the only change they're making is they're moving out of state.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately that is the truth. I mean, there's nothing really there's really not many positives except maybe for if you have a good job and live, work in the city, maybe feel like the city, then the city's a nice place when it is a nice place. But in general, there's not really much, financially, nothing's really holding you here. Nothing actually wants you to stay here based on finances.
Yeah. What keeps you here is, Chicago is still an economic engine, so there's a lot of opportunity surrounding the city of Chicago. But also family, friends, people got deep roots here.
Yeah.
And, after you get deep roots, it's hard to pick up and just move.
Yeah, exactly.
People do it, but, there's costs, there's consequences. You're not going to see your friends from you grew up with. You're not going to be able to see maybe family members as often. And, and you're starting all over in a new town. And even though it may be cheaper tax based, the weather may be a little sunnier, people like it here. And, it after you're born and raised here, nothing feels like the Chicagoland area. I love going on vacation. I got family in Florida. My parents moved down there. My sister actually moved down there as well, partly because of tax reasons. But you go down there, it's nice, it's sunny, it's fun. But it's come back, you're always happy to when you land back in O'Hare or Midway, you're happy to be back home. Something just it feels if the vibe, the energy of this area is unique to anywhere I've ever been.
Well, we got a good mix of people here too as well.
Absolutely.
Especially around just Chicagoland area has a good mix of people. And like for me, picking up and leaving, culturally it would be basically cultural suicide at that for me because I like what we have going on here. We're Polish Highlanders. We're actually working with the city to acquire some land on 159th Street. Yeah, so we're still in progress. We'll see how that plays out.
Best of luck to you guys.
And I need your help with that. We'll see.
Yeah, well, put something in front of me. I can actually look at. I've heard rumors, but I know you guys are looking at it. I think you guys got a great organization. I'm familiar with the Highlanders. I know you guys do great work, and that's what we need. We need community involvement. We need people to be proud of what they're doing, and that's a perfect example. The Highlanders do a lot of good work within the Polish community.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as Paul doesn't flip a table.
No, that happens in every. Yeah.
We're working on it. There's still some things that needs to be ironed out. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, we got a good nice mix of people out here. We got a lot of obviously American people, Polish people, Spanish people, a lot of Eastern Europeans out here. It's a good mix. People with smaller properties, people with larger properties.
Absolutely.
It feels like a country feeling out here realistically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I was gonna say everybody gets to pick how they live. Out here.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to live in a close community where you have, you don't really have a lot of land, you just have a bunch of neighbors. You get that here. If you want a lot of land, it's also an option.
Yeah,
right?
It's a great mix. It really is. And if you want to be downtown, you want the best restaurants and probably in the country. A great lakefront. You can be downtown in 45 minutes. If you want to be down in the plains and walk through Starve Walk, you can.
Yeah. There's a lot of attractions in nearby that are not far away.
Yeah, I mean it's not. The weather could be better at certain parts of the year for sure, but even that, some people, there's something about it, a little bit of snow here and there, and a cold weather day, and it all goes together. It gives us its vibe, it gives us a mix, it gives a good, it makes Chicagoland what it is Chicagoland, it makes Will County what's Will County, it makes Homer Glen what's Homer Glen. Yeah. And happy to be where I'm at, happy to be a part of where I'm at. I really enjoy where I live. I enjoy Will County, I enjoy Homer Glen, and I think it's a special area, and I like to preserve what we have as long as possible.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's the reason why you're running, right? You're trying
Absolutely.
to keep Will County. I mean, that's part of the reason why I was running. I ran out of time.
I get it.
Unfortunately,
life
I had not enough
happens,
time. I thought I would, and then things changed, and now here we are.
You can see why people. No offense, Mike, but wait till they're older for running for government and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Right? You get more time. You get
I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but I couldn't do this a few years back. I have 4 kids of my own, and they're finally getting in a good age where I can explore some of my own passions, my own opportunities, and luckily they're all great kids, and I like to spend more time with them when I can. But right now they know it's campaign season, it's election season, and when it's over, we're gonna definitely take a little vacation. But it takes time away from your family, it takes time away from your business. But I got a great crew with me. I got a great wife, a great family, and they understand what I'm doing, and my time, everything's suffering right now. Your business is going to suffer a little bit. Your personal life, everything's going to be a little hectic right now. But, there's always a little more to do. But you got to do this stuff when you feel passionate about it. Because one day when I'm 90 and in my rocking chair, I don't sit back and say I have no regrets. I put it all on the table. Yep. I left it out there. I did everything I can. I did what I believed in. And this is my story, and I want to have good stories to tell my grandkids one day.
But you also want to be proud of what you did, how you lived,
Absolutely.
what you tried, what you didn't try. You're obviously going to succeed in some things. You're going to fail in some things.
Absolutely.
But at least you tried.
But the failures sometimes are the strongest teachers.
100%. I 100% agree with that. Because I've been through those as well. So.
Everyone does. Yeah. And you remember those because they stick in your brain. They
sting.
Yeah, because of the victories that happen. You're like, oh, I did do that, didn't I? But I remember that one time that didn't go right, and you're like, that's not going to happen again. So you need that. Yeah.
Sometimes those failures make that victory all that
Even
much
sweeter,
better.
They galvanize your resolve. Is what they do.
They drive you to continue or to achieve or to overachieve at some point. If you really fail,
absolutely.
Then sometimes you really get a kick in the butt, and you're like, all right, I gotta get back in there, right? Yeah, I mean, I like politics. I'm always interested in politics, right? I will
Likewise.
continue to be, right? And sometime in the future, maybe I'll figure something else out. My passion now is my job, my kids, before my job, and then. I like doing this podcast thing.
Yeah, you guys have a great setup here. Yeah.
This is getting fun for me, so I like talking to people, learning new information. Right. Before we even started podcasting, I learned new information. I'm like, oh, perfect. This is kind of stuff I need to know. So, I mean, everybody has their thing that they maybe want to do in the future. go and try it.
Yeah.
You know, it could be whatever it could be, politics or business or family, whatever it could be.
Yeah. And I commend you guys what you're doing. The lost art of conversation, like too many people on their iPhones, too many people on their screens constantly. You know, what we just are doing now, what we were doing before we got on here, just having a conversation, is talking about what, you know, what's important to us, you know, your passions are, what you see yourself doing. That kind of stuff is something that I try and instill on my kids as well. Like, listen, you know, when you meet somebody, you look them in the eye, shake the hand.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, all that, the old-fashioned stuff that goes just a long way. You know, when you don't want to be looking down at your shoes. You want to be presenting people. You want to be, you know, let them know, you know, hey, I'm here. I'm
present.
I'm engaged. I'm listening. And you learn a lot by listening to people. And you know that helps you form your approaches and your opinions. And there's only one way to do it is to not be distracted and give people the attention they deserve, and you know, and process everything and come up with your own conclusions, obviously, but make sure you're present in the moment.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's too many people that start a conversation trying to figure out how to end the conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of having a conversation.
That's funny because that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There's too many people. You start talking to them. They're just like, yep. Nope.
Yeah.
You know, they're just trying to find a way to exit.
We didn't even do anything on a subscription or a subscribe or any of that stuff. We missed through the whole thing. Usually,
here we go.
We
Throw it
throw
up on
up
a screen.
we throw up a thing in the beginning to say, you know, subscribe, like, comment on our YouTube, help us keep growing, help us keep going.
Yeah, we've been steadily growing these past.
We have been
past
growing,
month or so.
exactly. People have been watching some of our stuff, and it's fun. I mean, like I said, for some people, it's more information that's available to them if they're looking for it. You know, for people that maybe don't know who you are right now, but maybe listen to this, listen to this podcast in the next couple of days because the election's coming up in about a week, less than a week.
Yeah, Tuesday's right
Yeah,
around the
so
corner.
it's right around the corner.
Thursday,
So we'll get this out as soon as we can.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention a lot of people would will prefer to listen to something rather than read it, especially in today's day and age, right?
Yeah.
So this makes it a little bit easier. You know, if instead of sending somebody, you know, some kind of bio or anything like that, send them a link. Right, and say,
mailers.
Hey, check this guy out.
I've seen the mailers. I know you sent mailers. Everybody sent mailers. Unfortunately, I don't look at the mailers. I just throw them in the garbage.
It's one of those necessary things you got to do when you do this stuff. It's like
100%. I see the name. I'm like, okay, at least they tried.
Yeah,
garbage.
At least they tried.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you know, like at least they're making an attempt to get it out there.
I'm
right?
under no false illusions that people are pinning these to their fridge and every time they arrive to the house. I understand.
There's a lot of them out there, but I mean, like I said, I see him. I look at the name. I'm like, okay, I know who this is. Next, whatever. But I mean, I know there's 4 candidates on the ballot here now. There's Mike Lepore, there's me, Paul Tyrella, there's Steve Balich, and there's John Richmond, if I'm not mistaken, right? Jim Richmond. Yeah. Sorry, Jim. Jim Richmond. So I know Jim and Steve are currently on the board.
Correct.
They're running for re-election.
Yeah.
You and me are the new guys.
Yeah.
Basically you. I'm just.
You're still on the ballot. You know?
Political opponent.
If somehow magically I got advanced past this round, all right, I would really put an effort into the next round.
You got a 50-50 shot. You got 2 people advanced. There's
You'd be
100%.
You'd be
100%.
surprised. I mean, for all you know, there's a giant amount of Polish people just waiting.
I mean,
waiting in the wings.
I just need them to go and vote. Go vote for whoever.
Yeah.
Just go vote because everybody likes to complain.
That's true.
But they don't go out and vote. And then that's the one thing we've been preaching this for a long time.
Recurring theme on this podcast.
Yeah,
we just say go vote.
If you're gonna complain, you can complain if you went to vote. If you didn't go to vote, don't complain.
I like this. I like this tagline. That's
because at the end of the day, you didn't do your due diligence and do your job as a citizen to go vote. So you have no reason to complain.
It's your responsibility.
It is your responsibility.
As a citizen to go vote. And these, as we say every week, almost every week, it's the small elections that matter more than
the
anything
local
else.
elections that matter the most.
Yep.
The president is one thing, but in terms of village board, Will County board,
Absolutely.
like township board, county board,
School board.
that stuff is important. If you want to know where your taxes are going and how they're allocated, those are the people you should be voting for.
Yeah, Donald Trump's not going to knock on your door and say, "Hey, I'm dropping your taxes by 10% this year."
Exactly.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah,
That's not gonna.
maybe he'll send a stimulus check, but what's that going to do?
Yeah. Well, we can dream, right?
Yeah. Well, right now we're not doing too high with the oil and the fuel, so we gotta cut back a little bit here and there. But I mean, listen, that is out of our hands.
Yeah. But
unfortunately, there's
Exactly.
no matter what we say, no matter how hard we scream, there's that is out of our hands. We have no decisions there. We can be against it. We can be for it. We can be, we can have outrage. We can have support.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
All we can do is talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So-
you do make the biggest impact locally. I mean, it's as a village official, and on the county board level, I think you have a more direct impact on your neighbors, your friends, your community than what you're going to have in other positions. And we can sit here and talk as much as we want about what's going on nationally, but it's really out of our hands. Unfortunately, Illinois has become such a democratic state that I don't think Republicans won here since
Round or one. Well,
I'm talking presidential wise.
yeah, presidential was. Oh yeah, that's
it's been a long.
It was closest last time.
I thought
right?
it was. I thought they voted. Was it Bush? Maybe. Maybe it was further than that.
Maybe it could be, but I mean, it's put this way. It's been so long that
We can't remember.
Yeah, we
It's a
can't
blur.
remember. It's a blur. Yeah. So, but Democrats definitely have a stronghold in this area, and I think, but I believe politics is like a pendulum on a clock. I think it goes both ways, and it may move slowly. But once it goes far left, it's got to come back to the right.
Yeah.
And I think Illinois has been so far left for so long. It's going to come back to the right, and it's going to come back to the center. And hopefully that progress is being made.
We can only hope for the center.
Yes,
because
the center
at
would
the
be
end of
nice.
the day, the center is nice because I'm not that. I'm a Republican. Obviously, I'm a registered Republican and everything. So are you.
Yes, correct.
So are
So
you.
am I. Yeah.
I don't have everything against Democrats and their ideas. Some of their ideas are actually pretty good.
You got to find people to work with, and if you're going to be politics, you're going to have to work with Democrats,
Yes.
regardless. I mean, I believe in Republican values. I'd rather obviously see everything go our way as Republicans.
100%.
But it's just not practical. You're going to have to work with people, get people on board, and sometimes it means saying to the person next to you is a Democrat, what do you think about this? Get their thoughts, get their ideas.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm not saying they're going to be
Well, listen,
all
everybody
good
can
ideas, but
They can have their opinion.
yes,
You can have your opinion, right?
yeah.
And at the end of the day, you don't have to hate the other person because they have different opinions.
You just
No.
can keep an open mind.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
that's-
it's-
open mind.
what it is.
open
Absolutely,
mind is
absolutely.
very important, but there are certain things that some on the far right and the far left are just mind blowing. Where
I mean,
they come
there's-
up with these ideas, right? But
There's some stuff on the right that I hear. I'm like, I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
That's just always
But
something.
that's-
I don't know about that
but,
one.
but
yeah.
that's the far of each
Right,
side, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
the
there's
minority.
I think there's a lot more that can be in common, closer to the center from both sides. They just got to work together. One thing, like let's say, I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but one thing that like makes no sense to me is like girls and boys sports, or
Oh, yeah.
boys and girls sports. My bad, wrong way.
Yeah,
Why?
why? Yeah.
What kind of reasoning is that?
Right.
I would never agree with that ever.
No, I'm same. I got 4 kids myself. I mean, genders are genders. I mean, you keep the boys and the girls sports separate. I'm a big believer in that. I don't understand how people could actually defend that one. I'm sorry. That's just
Same.
something I believe strongly in,
Well,
and
it's-
especially at the minor adolescent levels.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing, if once you hit 18, if you're a girl, you want to play with the boys, and you're a boy, you want to play with the girl. You're an adult now. You want to go out and do. That's fine, absolutely. If a girl wants to try out for the NBA, go for it. If you want to go play center for the Chicago Bears, God bless you. We
I don't
already
like-
signed one. We're good right now. But I'm saying I'm all about equal opportunity. But I don't like when it's dictated at a level like that, especially when it comes to adolescence and within the
Yes,
school.
which has the
course.
biggest impact on
Yeah.
their lives, right?
Yeah.
That time frame
Yeah.
between the age of maybe 12 and 15 is like where the world changes for kids,
Yeah.
right? It really does, and they can be pretty impressionable. And then you fill their heads with these stupid ideas or whatnot. It's one thing what you teach them at home,
Yeah.
away from school, whatever. But if they go to the wrong school or the wrong things are taught at the school, well, and they listen to it every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over again. They almost get programmed in a way.
Yep.
That's why elections for school boards is so important.
Back to it, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's local, right? We have to make the right. You have to make the right choices. You hope that people make the right choices with the decisions they make.
Yep.
Sometimes it backfires. Sometimes they make the wrong decision. I mean, it happens, but you try to be. You gotta stick to your values.
Yes,
for sure.
that's what's well said. Well said.
Don't sell out.
Yeah.
There's that happens a lot of times too. People sell out or because I'll give you this, or you give me this. This is make backroom deals and stuff like that. It's part of politics. I know it is.
Yeah.
There's-
Shouldn't be.
it shouldn't be. Yeah, but Fialco when he was on here, he said the best thing. He said that even politicians should have the cameras. What
Oh,
is
the
it?
body cams.
The body cam.
Actually, that's who should be wearing them, is the
Yeah,
politicians all the time.
yeah,
Especially when they're, yeah.
So that that's a good idea, but that ain't ever gonna happen. So
No.
I
But-
mean, I don't know. You give them an American flag pin with
Oh, yeah?
with a little camera built
spying on
in.
everybody. Yeah, that's right.
If we could get term limits, I think I'd be happy
Oh,
with
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
mean,
that'd be-
okay. So we're just real quickly on term limits. I mean, this is something actually I feel pretty passionately about as well. I feel that if if you serve and you've done well and you get reelected, God bless you. But nobody should serve more than 2 terms. Like the President of the United States gets 8 years. Let's say 8 years max, whatever the case may be. Doesn't mean you got to leave government. Doesn't mean you can never run for another office.
Yeah.
But bring your talents to another level. Maybe from village you go to county, from county to state, from state to federal, and back and forth or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities within government that these people get not pigeonholed. I'm sorry. These people run again and again and again. They get so entrenched. Are they really working for you at that point, or are they just really working to keep their seat?
Yeah. Well, that's what the problem lies, right? Without term limits, if they are entrenched, they will continue to stay entrenched until probably the day they die, where they die in that seat, literally.
Yeah. You see it all the time. People have been in office for decades, and they're just
Mitch McConnell.
There you go. Yeah, it's a perfect example right there. Yeah, there's Pelosi on the other side. There's so many at the federal level, even state level, and even in county level. The people get it. They're too long, and I think you need fresh ideas. You need fresh perspectives. You need fresh energy. You need people to step up and do the work. And it's not their seat; it's the people's seat. And I think that a lot of people think, well, that's my seat. No, it's not. It belongs to the taxpayers. It belongs to the voters. And you know what? I think
who got you in that seat?
Yeah, who got you there? But also, the term limit thing again. I mean, if it, just because you did a good, let's say you're the best representative for your district or your county or your state, and after a certain point in time, you should want a new challenge. Part of the reason I ran for office in the first place is like you get to a certain point in your life, you're pretty good at your craft, you're pretty good at your trade. You feel good. You feel comfortable. You're looking for new challenges. You need to do something to keep your mind fresh, your body fresh, and and there's only one way to grow is to keep on challenging yourself, and that's part of it too.
I was gonna say the other thing that term limits kind of does is instead of you getting comfortable somewhere, you use your position as a stepping stone. If you're committed, if you're in it for the long haul to be in a government position, right? You're going to use that current position as a stepping stone, stepping stone to move on.
Advance further, or
absolutely.
Instead bring your talent elsewhere.
Yeah, instead of getting complacent, either complacent or too invested to where you're affecting everybody negatively.
I agree.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, after that, it just starts to become everything about money. So, I mean, that's
that unfortunately, everything revolves around money in life. So
everything does revolve around money. We do need money. Obviously, money is needed. Obviously, just to survive. But sometimes they get entrenched because the money is there to entrench them. I mean, they made deals, and hey, you make this one deal and you'll be in here forever.
Yeah, and once they get big enough backers and supporters, and they're able to kind of buy their way in. Name will buy votes for you, and they make the right connections, and they get entrenched, and they feel like
they don't work for the people no more.
No,
at
they
that
don't.
Point.
At that point, they're just there to keep their connections going, grow their circle, and but that's what I say. If you knew you had only so many years at the position, maybe you'd try to you'd push harder. Just like if you had to,
that is 100% true.
Yeah, if you had to get people work best with deadlines, and I think if you have an open-ended deadline, you always feel like, I got more time to do this or do that. I'm just going to focus on things I want to, But if you've got to be out of that spot in this many days, you're gonna make sure you get your objectives handled.
Yeah. That works half the time.
Yeah, well,
I was going to say a great example is President Trump, right? He knows he only has 4 years, so he's not.
Oh yeah, he's knocking out everything right now.
He's not. I don't know. He's not sleeping. That guy. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on.
Press conference at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know.
Hey, call him in here. Call him in here.
He's definitely an active guy. I've never seen a guy do more in a short term, and he's done this in this past year. That's for sure. He's really pushing on all fronts.
Yeah, he's trying to make those policy changes. They're obviously hard.
Yeah.
It's just kind of back up for a second.
Yep.
You're talking about, you said you got a deadline. These top politicians, like in the Senate and the Congress and whatever, they got a deadline to come up with a budget. They come up with it at the last minute.
Yeah.
Bro, what? Come on. And then they don't read it.
No.
Then they go through it, boom, rubber stamp, we're good to go, yada, yada.
Yeah, as long as your district gets some funding for something or blah, blah, you got my vote. Then it goes on to the next guy. You got my piece in there? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Too much of that.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you have something important, like legislation right now that's important to me is like the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
You can't get the 3 extra senators to sign on to this. I mean, Democrats, they're never gonna vote for that thing. Yeah. Because there's a lot of reasons why. But just the one side can't get it together. Like, come on, it's
too
pretty
partisan.
important.
It gets too partisan even for good legislation. People have to, they have to go back to their sides and encircle their own wagons and do what they need to do. But sometimes, like you say, you need to find common ground.
Common ground, I agree.
It's got to be done at every level.
Yep, exactly. I don't want to go too much into the federal because there's a lot.
We go all night on that.
Yeah, there's a lot up there that I don't really want to talk about at the moment. But let's stick to Cool County.
I actually had a question for you, Mike.
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned the 143rd.
Yeah, 143rd Street, yes, sir.
Fiasco, I guess you can call it for now.
Yeah, that's
Um,
accurate.
Let's say you win. What are a couple other things maybe top of the priority list for you?
Well, beyond property rights expansion, I'm still beyond fiscal. We got it. The budget is so Will County did not raise taxes on their levy for the first time. The budget meant to levy. They use some reserves to balance everything out, but it's short term. We really got to get deeper into what we're doing on a county level to create tax savings on a larger basis. I don't think we can say, okay, well, 1 year we have a balanced levy and we're going to throw a parade for ourselves. That should be constant. That should be every year. And I think we should actually be looking even further at ways we can make things more affordable for families to keep people here. I know that what can we do? There's always different ideas and reasonings we can do to bring more economic activity to this area, more development, controlled, reasonable development that people want to see, and to grow our tax base rather than going back after homeowners and residents and saying, listen, pensions we need to be funded, and our fire department needs to be paid, our police need to be paid. All granted, but at some point, those expenses will continue to increase. And if we don't find a way to increase our economic output without taking more from our tax base, we're going to be in the same situation that the city of Chicago is in right now, where you're losing companies on top of each other. Boeing, Caterpillar, Citadel, Morton Salt. There's so many that have got up and left that that's maybe in the Chicago Bears. At some point, that's going to really, they can only do the dog and pony magic trick with the budget so many times where that bill's going to come due. They can borrow at high interest rates and with nothing due for whatever how many years it is, but that's all voodoo magic. It's going to come due. We don't want that here. So my primary focus is still going to always be property rights and fiscal responsibility. There's always other issues. I mean, solar farms are a big topic at the county level right now. Which I'm not a big fan of either. We show up a lot of good farmland with solar lands, solar farms. I'm not a believer that technology has reached its apex. I believe that
Same.
Take cell phones for example. When I was a kid, my father was so proud to get one of the first cell phones. It was a bag. It was like this.
The bag phone?
The bag phone. Yeah. And he's like, I can make a call in my car. I'm like, that's awesome. I thought it was cool too. Now we got these cell phones that are so small, you lose them. They fall between your seats.
Exactly.
What's going to happen with these solar farms 20, 30 years down the road? Are they going to be obsolete? Can one stretch of solar panels be replaced with something maybe the size of your screen? I don't know.
The technology is still advancing. It's actually advancing pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
But we haven't reached, like you said, we haven't reached the apex of efficiency on those things.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
That's the biggest problem, right? You still have to have a large amount of them to generate a good amount of power, and they only work during the day. They don't work during the night.
But there's so much government subsidies involved, and where the farmers that are leasing out this land to these solar contractors, I don't blame them for taking the deal. It's an attractive lease. You got 20, 30 year lease maybe where you're getting paid guaranteed rates. You don't go out there, you have to farm the land, worry about pesticides or.
You just gotta send out some sheep so they eat all the weeds.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. Maybe, but it's something where I think there's a lot of challenges come to Will County on that, and that's something else I'm familiar with. Data centers, another one. Data centers are very popular right now. It seems like they're running encroach in every area. Something I think has got to be looked at very closely. Data centers consume an amounts, a huge amount of electricity, a huge amount of water, and those rates are going to be passed down to consumers. And if we don't get some protections in line for consumers, we're going to be sitting in a situation where not only your property tax is constantly rising, your utility bills are constantly rising.
Right.
And at some point, we can't keep on going after people. And I would say, we can protect them here, but we got to look at all areas. Whatever's impacting families, we got to say this is too much to pay, and we got to figure out a way to make this work within people's budgets. And Illinois American Water is a big problem. Are you on a well here? Or you got
I'm on a well.
You see, you're one of the luckiest. Yeah. So IAW is another just thorn in the side of Homer Glen. It's been one for a while. We're working relentlessly at the village level to bring some relief, and we got some exciting projects in the works. Our own wastewater facility treatment.
I've seen that.
Yeah, we got the sewer line extension that's been we're getting federal grants for to extend off 159th Street. It starts there. We got to start bringing back our own infrastructure because right now. There's the water bills are too high. It's just because we lease everything. There's nothing that's owned by the village. Now we're making our steps to take some of that inroads to acquire some of the infrastructure back, but it's going to be a long, painful task. And that's one of the examples where it got out of hand too quickly, and now we're paying the price.
Yeah.
So we let this happen.
That wasn't a good decision back in the day whenever the decision was made. That was a
Maybe
terrible decision.
maybe
actually.
it was a necessity back in the day, but
Well, it happened when Home Gun first got incorporated. They had an opportunity to purchase the infrastructure, but they declined. They didn't want to raise taxes or sell bonds at the time, and I think
So they're being fiscal at the moment.
yeah,
right?
they're new to the game, and maybe they thought that we can just lease everything, and be cheaper right now. Maybe one day we'll just, be able to somehow magically acquire this back. But it didn't work that way. And now we're 25 years down the road, and we're really feeling the pain of what we could have probably handled much better back then. I'm not throwing shade on former leaders. Back when we incorporated, it was probably a difficult decision. But
exactly.
But now you got to use that as an example. Once again, our failures should be our strongest teachers, and that is something we have to learn from an accounting level as well. That we don't want to let certain utilities get out of control. We don't want to let anything get out of our control, where we can, protect our tax base, our voters, from something as outrageous as that. Because right now, Homer Glen is probably one of the highest water rates in the country right now, which is absolutely insane when we live next to Lake Michigan and we have vast ground reserves of well water too. We sit on basically an aquifer. So it seems that this is just.
It's out of hand.
Nonsensical. Yeah.
It's out of hand. It really is out of hand. I know a lot of people that live in Homer Glen. One of the reasons some people don't want to move to Homer Glen is because the water
bills alone. Property taxes and water bills are.
Yeah,
a water bill should not be a second mortgage. It should not be.
yeah.
And that's what you feel like it is sometimes. And and now American Water is attempting to sell out to another company, which the problem with it too is the village has very little control over utility companies. Everything is monitored and regulated by the ICC. And once the ICC makes their decisions, it's really hard to
change it.
Yeah. The village can have their input, the mayor, the trustees can all have their input, but the utility companies are going to do what the utilities are going to be allowed to do via the state. And the ICC is not going to be listening to you or I as much as they're going to be listening to a multi-billion-dollar corporation that's publicly traded on the stock exchange.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of data centers. I mean, I like data centers because I know what they are, but I don't like them for what they're doing. Like they really are causing a headache for the local residents, everyday person, right? The high electric bills, like you said. If you want to build a data center, build a power plant next to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that's got to be consired. I mean,
they're already working on that. So
once again, you can't. I don't want to say no to everything, but at the same time, though, we got to find out ways to protect consumers. The voters, everyone across the board, because
voters are consumers, right?
Well, voters are consumers. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So the same equal. But once you let something kind of get a little bit away from you, it slips quickly, and before you know it, it's a bigger problem. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, then you got the voters saying, hey, why is this like this? Well, because we didn't put the right controls, right measures in back when we should have, and
the right guardrails.
Right guardrails, exactly. And you need to be on a constant focus of how to make things more manageable at an early level versus trying to once the cat's out of the bag, you're chasing around.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, and that's why there's certain things that need to be done. That if you get to the Will County Board and you're on there, you'll have a little bit more input and maybe listen to the to your voters and maybe either A, reach across the aisle, or B, have enough support to pass certain things, to limit certain things.
Yep.
Solar panels, not a big fan. Not until they become more efficient, at least. Yep. The incentives for all this stuff is just the only reason why they're built is because they're incentivized by the government. And I don't know if that's probably not a good thing.
It's not always the best option.
It's not always the best option, exactly. I think there's nuclear power plants is where they should be allocating that money. In my opinion, at least.
If nuclear could change its name, that's one thing that needs to be just have a rebrand, and everyone
they should just call it a fusion reactor.
Yeah, there you go. It sounds very exciting. Fusion reactor. Not nuclear. No, nuclear. No.
No, we ain't blowing stuff up. No.
But no, it's the most efficient way of powering things, and I think there's a lot of nuclear plants that are doing the majority of the work actually, but people don't even recognize. But people feel good about the sun and the solar, and they feel good about the wind.
I mean,
even though it's not as efficient,
it's an energy source that can be harnessed. I mean, I guess the way you can also look at it from another perspective is that if you continue to build, you continue to improve it, right? So that's one way to look at it, right? If you continue to build solar panels and install them, maybe they're not as efficient, but maybe you'll find the next part of evolving that solar panel or whatever, right? Now, I'm not saying, like I said, if they're a bit more efficient than they are currently today, I'll be for them. That's fine.
Absolutely.
If we can power the whole state of Illinois on 30 acres of land, then no questions asked.
I think
Take the
everybody would
30,
do
take the
that,
50.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
At this point.
that day may very well come.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're anywhere near that right now. And to be, we got some of the best farmland in the country right here, and to be chewing up so much of it with these solar farms, it's just
Stuff that's not even recyclable.
Yeah, and I think it has too much gray right now for me to really say this is the way to go.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, like I said, that's the data center. I just drove I was driving back home yesterday from Texas, and we drove on I-55 by Pontiac or past Pontiac. We drove by a solar farm. On the way there, I seen that solar farm, perfect, clean, nice, and everything's lined up.
Next day.
On the way back, bro, broken pieces, crushed with a hail, everything got destroyed.
Yeah.
Who covers that? Obviously, the insurance does, but what does that do?
Well, ultimately the insurance companies are going to make those losses, and it's going to reflect on the broader base because everyone's insurance rates went kind of crazy up here back when we had some storms that were nowhere near us, in the coastal areas, and earthquakes and fires and everything else, and it all reflects. So there's no free rides. Nothing is free in life. There's always a bill to be paid.
Doesn't matter where you live either.
Yeah.
Exactly. There is nothing that's out there that's a free ride, like you said. I actually wanted to ask you about a couple of ththings here.
Sure. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of controversy in regards to the building that's over here in Homer Township. I know you had an ad going about it about the building that was
Community center.
Community center.
Yeah, Travis.
So give us a little bit of backstory on what happened with this community center? How much about it do you know? I mean, I know that it was started, most of it got built. It's missing a bunch of stuff still. There's funding missing for it. I understand that the previous supervisor, Ballot, who is on the ballot, he had that put together funds, but I guess funds were it was not enough funds to finish it. I mean, I guess besides that point, I'm sure that the ultimate goal was to help the community, right?
Oh, always. I mean, everyone has the best intentions, but
I
the
think
road
that's
to
what
hell
his
is
intention
paved
was.
in good intentions. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Would you say?
the road to hell is paved in good intentions.
Never heard that one?
I've heard of it. I was just confirming that's what he said.
Yeah. But this is one of those situations where I think the best intentions were originally in mind. But however, I feel like this project was a lot of inexperience, a lot of naive people got involved in this, and I think they could do it for a lot less than what they thought. Someone who's been involved in real estate and construction my entire life, I can tell you right now that this project was way over budget. Right now, it's uncompleted still. They constructed a shell, put $2.3 million into this property so far, and we need about $2.3 million.
$2.3 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that include the purchase of the land?
The land was, I believe, already within their control. I think it was annexed or there was a deal with maybe granted, let's say. But the construction itself, we're at $2.3 million. We need estimate about another $700,000 of finished construction. We're missing things such as well and septic. There's a lot of electrical still missing. There's I've actually been inside the building. It's just like it's unfinished in so many ways. The parking lot still needs a lot of improvements. There's no front doors. Windows are missing. It's a shell is what it is, and it's just something that shows you. They want to develop a community center, a place for kids to play basketball, whatever the case may be. But you don't. First you need a need, then you build something. You don't build something and then try and identify a need. There was really no clear purpose for this property, for this whole project, and it's just one of these. It was I call it the worst financial mistake in Homer Township history, and that's really what it is. Because not only do you have just a ton of money dumped into this thing, in order to complete it, we got to come up with more money, and then we have to operate this thing. So we have right now. Let's see. Right now there's. $500,000 originally was the grant to do this. So it was grant money. They say it was grant money. Yeah, there was originally $500,000 in. But then what Balich and his crew did is they looted the Parks Fund and all the other funds within the township in order to get this thing where it is now. And right now you're just looking still at something that needs a massive amount of money to complete. So it's just a complete disaster on so many levels. And I've gone after my opponent on this one because I'm as a fiscal conservative. You couldn't make a worse mistake. You couldn't put the taxpayers in a worse position than what you've done. Because now we're in a situation where we're going to have to raise taxes or find additional money from grants that don't exist. I know Mr. Balich says, if I would have stayed in, I would have got it done. No, you wouldn't have. There's no magic wand for this one. There's no money that was coming in. Nobody's going to donate $700,000 to finish this thing. Just a huge disaster. And I think you can't reelect incompetence. You can't reelect failure. And that's what we do by putting Mr. Ballage back in office. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I understand the whole building thing. I I kind of don't understand why it can't be finished, but I mean, it's
You got to find the money.
Gotta find money.
yeah,
It could be
I'm
finished.
sure.
You
Well,
got,
once we
Paul, you
finish
got
it-
700,000 later on.
No, but
Once we finish it, though,
there's-
Paul, we still have to maintain it. We have to staff it. We have to heat it. We have to insure it. So it's going to continue to draw. Okay, but you can bring in, youth sports and this and that, but you're not going to be operate on that level to ever be revenue neutral. Yeah. It's always going to be a loss for the township, even after they get it up and running. It'll be less of a loss. Sure, I mean, you can maybe only lose maybe $40,000-$50,000 a year on operation, but there's nothing, like you say, there's nothing free. You're still all this stuff is going to have to be capex. What happens when the furnace goes out over there or something? There's always, when you own buildings, you own property. There's so much stuff that can go wrong.
Then why not sell it?
Well, that's the problem. Who's going to buy a partially completed building?
Yeah.
And here's another problem too.
For the right price, everybody will buy it.
The slab of concrete. Well, you're right, but then you're going to lose massive amount there too. But the slab of concrete they poured there is only 4 inches thick. So therefore, it might be a good commercial application, but you can never bring anything heavy in there. So therefore, you're going to crack that concrete.
It depends on what you're going to be doing and how you lay it out.
Well, the Village of Homer Glen is actually looking for a place to operate their EMS office. Right now, we lease that facility. That would have been a good opportunity for us. But now we're going to park all the vehicles outside. We have this great. It limits the applications. All I'm saying is, yeah, you probably could sell it, but who's going to? If you put $2.3 million into it right now, the building's not worth $2.3 million. You're going to take a bath on that, and
So
just
then
to get out.
what's the alternative to not selling it? Holding on to it and keep losing value on it?
Well, right now the current administrator and the current township leadership is looking at more grants. They're looking at any way to fund this thing, reclassify things. Just bring in extra money to get this thing done. I think they're doing a good job, but trying to figure out where they're at. But I don't know if there's any easy way out of here because nobody wants to raise taxes. And that's why they put a referendum in to raise taxes in order to finish a project that nobody really wanted in the first place. That's what we're doing.
They're doing a good job. They find the money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Paul.
Easier said than done.
I know.
There's no
But I mean-
grant out there for incompetence. You
Yeah.
can't go to the federal government. Listen, we screwed up big time. You got money for me? Yeah. Well, they
Well,
look
the
at
state
you
of
like,
Illinois,
no.
the state of
Yeah.
Illinois does it all the time.
Well, the state of Illinois does it all the time, but I guess the state can do it. But then when you get to that lower level of branches of government, there's no incompetence grant. There's no I didn't know what I was doing grant. There's no I overspent grant. There's no I should never built this grant. Those things don't exist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, you're obviously in real estate, so you know.
Yeah.
But
And
in my
construction,
mind, in my mind, if there's not enough money enough to finish it, then take whatever you can get for it and move on.
Yeah.
Realistically,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what you're left with because is there taxes that are owed on this building every year?
Well, it's government owned, so
Oh,
zero.
so there's no
yeah.
taxes. Never mind. I forgot that the government owns.
Yeah,
the building.
it-
So-
it-
They're not
that's-
losing
yeah.
money by holding on to it.
yeah. Well,
Well,
yeah.
you still got to insure it. You still got to
Yeah,
cut the
yeah.
grass. I mean,
Yeah,
you still,
yeah.
I
still
mean, at
things
the
are-
end of the day, though, the longer it sits, the cost to finish it is going to go
How
up.
much?
Obviously.
And how much land is it?
I'm not exactly sure the size of the parcel, but it's part of a larger.
I know it's part of
developed-
Tarantino Farm, I
Yeah,
think,
exactly.
they used to be.
Yeah, so it's a section of that. I think they could probably subdivide it out and make it something else and maybe sell it in the future. But
Yeah.
once again, as a real estate guy, if I was, I've bought many foreclosed and vacant properties in the past. I'd be licking my chops, saying, okay, well, maybe $400,000. What are you guys looking at right here?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're gonna just get. You're gonna take a bath on that thing, and then you're gonna have the voters come at you. Wait, you spent $2.3 million,
What-
and you only got this much for it.
What's the zoning on it?
Right now, it's zoned. I believe it's still zoned agricultural over there. I believe. Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's all gonna change anyway. Yeah. Once you buy it, yeah.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
so all right, so we got that out of the way. So I got another question for
Sure.
you then. Now the opposition. What happened? Why did you vote for the grocery tax, the 1%?
So the grocery tax
Give
is
us a little
something.
bit of reasoning here.
Yeah. So it was already there. Okay. So
Yes, it was there. It was supposed to get.
The Village of Homer Glen survives on sales tax alone. There is
Yes.
no revenue coming from any other tax outside of basically a sales tax revenue. So if that goes away, it's a major hit to what Homer Glen does locally and financially. The tax was repealed at a state level as almost a gimmick. That way Pritzker could say, "Well, I actually lowered some taxes." However, it was something that if you let it fall through, it was just too big of a hit for us to take. I mean, we're just keeping something in there.
If they seen it coming, they shouldn't have prepared for it.
Yeah, I understand. But at some point, when you're in these discussions and you're looking at budgets, you're looking at revenues, and you know what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep what is working. And right now, you need sales tax base because let's say we repealed the grocery tax. Okay, everyone saves 1 penny on every dollar you spend on your groceries. Down the line, let's say it works for a couple of years, 2-3 years down the road, and we start eating at our reserves. well, now we got to find another tax to replace what we're losing. I just feel like it was something that is already in place. It was something that was working for us already. So sometimes, even though I'm not a big tax guy, you got to, if we had an alternative, let's say we had something that was coming to town that could supplement us. Let's say we had 159th Street being developed to the point where we had additional tax revenues that would replace our grocery tax. I would have looked at that and I would say, listen, we have a bright future in this spot here, and if we can bleed this out for a few years while we do this. But right now we're kind of in a peril here because as much as I want to see development along 159th Street and commercially, we have to get our own infrastructure up and running because right now our wastewater agreement, expires with Lockport in 2030, and without that in place, well, there's uncertainty. So therefore, development does not want to
come in
with uncertainty. They would rather wait it out and see what's going on. So right now, 159th Street is going to sit largely undeveloped until we put up our own wastewater facility treatment, which we are doing. It's already through the engineering phase. We're at the Illinois State EPA level right now. Once they approve our designs and everything, we can move to the next phase. But we say when developers come in, we say we are building our own. Where is it? It's in that open field over there. Well, they want to see more than that.
Yeah.
But what about your agreement with Lockport? Well, they gave us till 2030. I mean, Lockport they can't turn us off, but they can charge us absorbent rates. So you want to buy in on something when your water bill is?
Well, that comes into the effect of planning ahead.
Yeah.
Right?
So at some point right now, we got to look at what we're doing. We got to look at our plan to go forward. And we got to protect our long-term interests. So I understand that no one wants to pay more taxes. I get it. But it wasn't really a tax increase. It was tax that was already there and something we were already paying. And as much as you want to say, save here, save there, that's a tough one to cut out, and the village is growing.
Do you know how much money comes in from that tax?
Offhand, I do not.
No, figured.
I want to say it was somewhere around the neighborhood about $500,000.
I was also gonna say, like, if you take it off, then in a few years you have to add one back on. It's probably not gonna be 1% anymore.
No, it won't be 1%, and it'll be something else, and it'll be a big fight to get it in. Also because it's a new tax, and residents don't want to see new tax. Unfortunately, but it was a tough decision. It wasn't when you get involved in this. When you run for these offices, you're like, I always want to make sure I'm doing this and that, and you get involved in these really tough decisions, and you look at all the aspects, and you want to make what's smart not only for the village now, but what's going to work for them in the future. Because, you want to leave it better than what you found it. And that's really where I'm at.
I mean, unless we make cuts for $500,000, then we can cut the tax.
But we're already pretty thin at the village. We're not really, exactly doing much that I think would be require a cut. Our public works is pretty basic right now. All the water.
I think they do a fine job.
No, they do a fine job. What I'm trying to say though is, where are we going to cut though? We already outsource so much IAW on the public works side as far as sewer line repair, water main repair, things of that nature. Yeah. We lease our police department from Will County. Our staffing is not absorbent at the village level. I believe, there's not really much we can say that there's a lot of fat. Not like the city of Chicago where you got 3 guys digging a hole and 2 guys are watching. There's
no man. Don't
maybe
say that. I'm going to be driving around Homer and be watching.
Don't quote me. Maybe one guy watches around here.
But, dude, you can't do anything about it.
But if there's waste, if there's fat, you want to address it. But I believe the grocery tax was something we had to keep in order to make sure we had a strong, consistent base to keep growing. Homer Glen is a very fiscal responsible village. I mean, we're over $50 million in the black, and we want to stay in that direction because we have a lot of growing to do. We have a lot of infrastructure still to do. And to say, well, you guys got a lot of money. Why don't you, just repeal taxes, this and that? Well, there's so much to be done at a village level.
Yeah.
That town still has to grow on such a level that
the town is growing. I mean, it's constantly growing.
And
it's
going to need a lot of support from the village in order to keep that direction going. There's a lot of programs the village provides that incentivizes businesses to come in, but I'd like to see more on that level as well.
Yeah, I mean that's very true. I mean, I'm not saying that the village is wasting money on other stuff
all
like
government
that.
naturally wastes money. It's something. There's not efficient. It's just what government is.
Sometimes obviously I'm a taxpayer. The 1% makes a difference to me, even if it's 1 penny.
Apparently, Paul's idea is just to go bare bones on everything.
Oh yeah, 100%. One man for each job. That's
But here's the thing, though. That 1%, every municipality had to make the same decision. So is there somewhere where you could buy groceries for 1 penny cheaper? Would you go there? Maybe some people would.
The store's not going to show you that.
No, is it worth the extra gas mileage to get to 3 towns over?
As long
to buy
as
things
they'll start implementing something like freaking plastic bag tax or something like that, then I guess we'll be all right. I guess we can live with the 1% tax.
Yeah, I was gonna say that reminds me of like the. I don't do this. I know somebody who does, but somebody will go 3 miles down the road to get gas, for like 2 cents cheaper. I'm like, you just spent that.
I do this all the time.
Saved.
I do this all the time.
It comes out to the same cost.
Listen, I did my calculation. It's worth it. So
Yeah,
that's it.
you have to calculate out.
If I'm going to go
You
get
guys know,
$5,
think too about motors and gas mileage.
if you're gonna go do, if you, well,
That's not very. Paul, that's a gas guzzler over there.
listen to me, all right?
It does look like
If I'm gonna go
take
tank it for $5, I'm not gonna go make that drive. But if I'm gonna go take a full tank, and I'm spending $100-some to fill it up,
Well, that's different. You're driving a truck, right? My car is a 12-gallon tank. It's not much of a difference.
everybody has their own strategy, all right? Just because my gas station's a little bit further away doesn't mean I'm not gonna go there for $100. You know, it saves me $1. It was worth it.
saves dollars.
Man,
But
maybe I
Paul,
hope.
times money is your
100%.
time worth $1?
Listen, this is why I don't go the opposite direction. I go in the same direction I'm going to work. If it's on the way to work, I'll stop there. You know what I mean? So, but I'm just really messing around.
Yeah.
I obviously I'm looking for good price on fuel, especially right now. But I'm not gonna go driving 3 hours just to go get cheaper gas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unless you're filling up a drum.
Yeah.
Well, that's a different story. All right, that's like 250 gallons right there. So, yeah, 100%. But I mean, it seems like you kind of know what you want to do. You have an idea of what you want to,
You have a goal.
show
You
the
have a goal
people.
in mind.
Yeah, you have a goal in mind in terms of how you want things to operate.
Absolutely.
In what county, if you get in there, and it seems like you have an overall general good idea of how things currently run and what maybe can be improved and what where improvements could be made.
Yeah, thanks. I think a lot of it's just common sense. I think a lot of it's just real world experience. I mean, I've been in the private sector. I've been involved in businesses since I got out of college, and grew up working. My first job was second grade. My old man, he drove a truck, and he needed help, and I was more than happy to go with him. That was a cool experience. Made $1 an hour back when I was back then.
We did the same thing.
And at the end of the week, I had $25 or so, and I was a rich kid, in second grade.
Oh yeah.
But it teaches you hard work. It teaches you what value of hard work is, and how to manage a business. My father's been in entrepreneur his whole life as well, and I think you got to bring some of that to the government level as well. And now government's a different animal. Things in government operate slowly, where businesses want to operate quickly and efficiently. But government works slowly for a reason, because you're dealing with a lot more moving parts. And I think that if done properly, if you have the right people within the controls, you can see a lot of progress made. But sometimes what happens is you get people in there who maybe they have the best of intentions when they originally get there, but they lose their focus after being there for years at a time. And I think that once you're there for a long time, you need to step back and let some other people bring their new their ideas to the forefront.
Well, maybe hopefully you can bring term limits to Will County.
I love it. I resign tomorrow if they bring term limits to Will County. My work would be done. I could retire. My one piece of legislation. There it is. Term limits. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a pretty big success.
They're walking away.
You can sit in your rocking chair happy.
Yeah, I'll be happy. I'll be like, term limit. Yeah, this guy right here.
That's good. I mean, hey, listen, maybe you can make it happen realistically. We need to start somewhere at the bottom and go all the way up to the top. I mean,
something's got to happen. Yeah.
Someone's got to make those decisions. Those are the hard decisions to make, but they got to be made. Just if you get enough people to vote for it, that's what it is, right? Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
This was very informative, very, very, very good of you to come on and talk about yourself a little bit, talk about your ideas a little bit.
Appreciate
Get it
the
out
opportunity.
there. Mike Lepore for Will County Board, District Number 4. Hopefully, good luck to running on that ballot, and good luck to you in the future. If you get on, hopefully you can make good changes for our district and for the county.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, and if you guys can. Again, Marcin can now announce it because I keep talking.
Yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, leave a comment if you're interested in coming on. Feel free to reach out. If I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it by Tuesday.
If any other candidate wants to come on and talk and get their ideas out, come on down. I mean, we don't have a lot of time, and elections on Tuesday, so. It'd have to be pretty quick, but we can probably still make it happen. At least one person, if not, maybe one person can get on, then come on and we'll record a podcast and get your ideas out there. But it's cutting it close. Yeah. So that's how it is. We could have done it a little bit earlier, but I had some stuff going on that I had to get out of town for a little bit. So it is what it is at this point. So, but I appreciate you coming.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks for coming
Thank you very
on.
much.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night, Pat.
Peace.